Alright, welcome to Scotty's Gunworks. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to kind of make a little video here of polishing down a gun. This is an old Smith & Wesson. It's in pretty rough shape, as you can tell. I done started polishing on it. I done took it apart and everything, but it dawned on me while I was doing this. I thought, you know what, I better make a video on this right here. Kind of show everybody the procedure. You know, I know I made a nickeling video and everybody's seen how nice it turned out, but you can see how the pits are pretty bad in this particular revolver. It's 22, pretty bad shape, but I'm going to make this gun look just like a brand new one. Now, I'm kind of a one-man show down here today. I don't have a cameraman, so I'll be stopping the camera, you know, and polishing some and showing you some updates, you know, like I did on my previous stock video and some other videos that I've done. But I hope this kind of teaches you or kind of helps you to learn some techniques here, you know, if you decide you want to, you know, polish a gun out and maybe blue it yourself or whatever. But anyway, it's just a time-consuming thing. What I do in a situation like this right here, if it's really pitted out like this right here, I'll start out with maybe a 140 grit. Then I'll go up with a 500 grit on this particular wheel right here. I've got a series of different wheels up there that, you know, I use. And that's kind of the secret to a good bluing on a gun. You know, it's kind of like a paint job on a car. The paint job's only going to look as good as the prep work you do on it. And of course, you know, if you don't know how to polish, what you'll do is you'll end up knocking corners off and funneling out holes and polishing, you know, logos and serial numbers and stuff like that off. And you surely don't want to do none of that. There's an art to it. I've polished hundreds of guns down and blued them, and you know, been doing this for over 20 years, so kind of, you know, captured the technique, I guess. You know, a lot of training and stuff like that. But anyway, basically what you want to remember is just take your time, don't get no hurry, and don't polish anything off you don't want polished off. Well, I'm going to go ahead and start polishing on this. I'll cut the camera off and I'll kind of show you an update as we go on. Okay, here we are so far. I've just about done all the 140 polishing on it. I don't know if you see it. The light's kind of glare on it. Let's see. Got all the little bad places out of it, the pits and everything, you know, then smoothed everything up. Still got all my corners and still got all the writing on. The stampings are all still on it. Even crowned the barrel. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over it with a 500 grit. And what that 500 grit's going to do is I'm going to knock out the little bitty scratches with the 500 grit. Then that's what I'll do. I'll get all the little fine scratches out of it, and then I will go up with a 555 high polish array, which will put a mirror shine on it. And then when you blue it, it'll look like it's been dipped in black chrome. Well, I hope y'all can see that. Right now, if I was to blue it right now, it would be what I'd call a standard finish. What I would do is I would just, you know, make the scratch pattern look good. But anyway, there we are. Okay, I'm fixing to put the 500 polish array on there. I kind of wanted to show everybody, you know, some of the machinery I've got here, because it's important to have the proper tools to do a good job. I've got the 500 grit wheel on here. That you know, got a selection of different grit wheels up there, and got that grit wheel on it right now, the 500 grit wheel. And I keep the polish array right here in the refrigerator because you want to keep this stuff refrigerated. It's from our favorite place, Brunel's. That's our 500 grit. That's what it looks like. Of course, I'm kind of holding the camera here as I do this, but you want to put the polish array on the wheel. You apply it like that right there. It's sort of like a glue and I guess a fine grit mixture, and you just put it on there until it gets up kind of thick. You know, don't want to just hold it on there. You just want to kind of bump it like that right there on the corner, about a 4 o'clock angle, I guess. So you get it on there, and then you just kind of let it spin until it dries, because it's kind of held on there, you know, like a glue, I guess. You want to make sure you put your polish array back in your refrigerator. I kind of got everything around here set up, you know, to where everything is kind of at my hands here. I can just, you know, kind of spin around, and got another polishing machine right here, and you know. But anyway, I've even got a hair dryer right here that I used to kind of help the drying process along. So it's very important to make sure that that stuff's good and dry, because try to polish it when it ain't dry on there, it'll make that polish already stick to your metal, and it's a lot of extra work involved in trying to polish that off. But anyway, of course I can't polish it and hold the camera at the same time, so I'll have to cut the camera off and I'll start polishing it, you know. Alright, I got me a bipod here. I kind of set the camera up on it. I just kind of wanted to polish this gun a little bit with that 500 polish array. Kind of give everybody an idea, you know, how it's done. It ain't nothing real special about it or anything, but anyway, basically, you know, just want to cut the old 140 polishing grit out, or polish and scratch it out with this 500. You want to replace them. It's kind of getting a satin looking finish to it. This saves you time when you do it this way. Kind of want to go in a direction. You don't want to hold it in one spot for very long, because what will happen is it'll start dipping the metal out and start causing a wave in the metal. You don't want that. What you want to do is you want to even it out by, say there's a pit right here. So what you want to do is, instead of staying focused on that pit, you want to kind of spread that out by doing that, and that'll make it to where, you know, you can't tell the pit was there and you can even see a dip in it. Kind of the procedure. When you're doing this, you want to watch them corners. But you sure don't want to round them off. You want to keep everything sharp as you can. What I'll do is I'll keep doing this with this 500 hard wheel, and I'm fixing to put a 500 soft wheel on it. And what that soft wheel is going to do is going to enable me to get into these, like these little corners and stuff real good. You know, if I tried to do it with this wheel right here, what would happen is the pressure would cause it to dip out, you know, and it really wouldn't do my little crease in there any good at all. You know, like up in there and stuff. So when I put the 500 soft wheel on there, I'll be able to put the pressure on there, and it'll get into the corner, and plus it'll, you know, won't dip it out or anything like this stiffer wheel here would. I'm gonna cut the camera off, and I'm gonna just do this right here, and then I'm gonna put the 500 wheel on there, and I'll show you the polishing technique to that, which ain't really no technique to it. It just you know, basically just boils down to making sure you don't put too much pressure on it, and you watch your corners and stuff. Alright, I got the 500 soft wheel on there now. I done put it on there, and I put the polishing rouge on there. Now I'm going to hit the gun. I'm going to go over the gun with that. And what that's going to do, it's pretty much the same routine. I put a little more pressure on it with this wheel here, because it's not as stiff, and it doesn't. When you put pressure on it with this right here, it kind of spreads the weight out across the metal instead of just keeping it focused on just one spot. So you don't want to go overboard with, you know, putting a lot of weight on it, but yeah, it's more limber, I guess. Don't you say anything about that or not. course, the shinier it gets, the more you'll be able to tell if there's any spots you need to go back and hit with a 140. You know, that wheel right there is pretty nice because it gets into these little corners and crevices, you know, that the other wheel won't. Sometimes you gotta take a Dremel tool. It just depends on the situation. Just down here, some kind of rough shape. Fortunately, I didn't really have to take a Dremel tool to it, but I've seen cases where I'd have to take a Dremel tool and put a little fine cutting wheel on there and set, and even take a file and, you know, file hits out depending on wherever they're at, of course. Make sure you hold on to the work really tight, because if you ain't careful, this wheel right here will snatch it out of your hand and throw it up against the wall. You don't want to get too crazy with it. You want to make sure you hang on to the work. You know, some of these tight places where it'll wrap itself around like the trigger guard, especially in this area right here. And if you ain't paying attention, it'll sure jerk it out of your hand. That's the last thing I want, anything to happen. That's the last thing I want to happen is for a gun to get, knocked out of my hand and thrown up against the wall. And then I have more work because I got to polish whatever damage that the fall might have done to it. It just comes with being careful. You want to pay attention and watch what you're doing. That's basically what it all boils down to. If you'll do that, you shouldn't have any problems. Kind of relax and let the machine do all the work. See how it's kind of getting more brighter. Corners and everything are still nice and sharp. I've got another little wheel right here that I'll use for the inside of the trigger guard. Probably even get in that area right there with that little wheel, you know. When it comes time for me to do that, I've got it polished out in there. Take the 500 or the 555 and get in there with that. I'm gonna cut the camera off. I still got a little ways to go here. I don't want to bore everybody, you know, making you watch me do this. Kind of wanted everybody to get an idea, you know, the routine and the technique here. Okay, here we are so far in front of the wheel here. Now there's the high polish. I don't know if you tell anything about that or not. I'm kind of standing here in front of the camera here. I got on a little bipod. Of course, I'm not through with it, but there's the side that I put the high polish on, and of course, I hadn't done anything to that side right there. That'd be a standard finish. And that'd be your high polish finish, you know. Of course, when you blue that, it's going to be black. Like black chrome. That's just going to be a standard black. You know, just going to determine how it's polished is how that's going to look. But anyway, it's the same procedure, the same, you know, polishing procedure on the wheel. And then right there's the 555 polishing array, which would be that right there. You know, they've got, I think they got a black, gray, and a white. I've always just had good luck just using the white. Just make sure that if you're going to use blue and salts and you're going to polish, you use a greaseless polishing rouge. That's why it's, you know, important to get it all from somebody like Brian Ailes, you know, who, you know, deals in blue and salts and stuff like that, because they'll know what to sell you. You don't want to use the stuff you get at, you know, Walmart polishing rouge unless it's a greaseless. Because it'll spot up and it just won't look good when you blue it. But anyway, there's your high polish. Here's your standard. Of course, I got fingerprints all over it, but anyway, that's where we're at right now on it. I'm gonna go ahead and cut the camera off and get on over here and polish the rest of these parts. probably the next time you see me, I'll be ready to tape it up and bead blast this right here, just like the factory. Okay, I want to point this out right quick. Of course, you know, as you can see, we're putting the high polish on it now. And I've done started polishing on the other side. What I do is whenever I'm putting the high polish on, that's when all the little places you missed will start showing themselves. Got a little pit right here. I mean, you can't really hardly see, but, you know, my standards are pretty high when it comes to stuff like this. So what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and put the high polish on it, and then I will go back and hit it with the 500 grit and knock these little pits out. I'll feather these little pits that might be left behind in that. And that's important if you're going to do them a good job. You want to make sure that these little pits are left behind, and you ain't going to get them all. It just depends on the situation, but most of the time you can get them out to where, you know, nobody will really pay any attention to them. Some of them, you know, you got to kind of leave in there because they might be, say, in an area where the pit is not as noticeable as the mess you're going to make out of it trying to take it out, I guess, if you will. But most of the time, you know, you can get them out with no problem. But, you know, you ain't going to get them all out using the 140 or the 500, or at least you're not going to see them until you start putting the high polish on there. And then that's when you got to go back and hit it with the 140 or the 500, probably the 500, you know, and you'll just feather it out. And, you know, then hit it back with a polish again, the high polish. And, of course, the pit will be gone, and that's, you know, what the customer wants. I try to keep high standards. I just basically try to make sure that when I receive a job, or when I turn out a job, it'd be a job I'd want to receive. You know, treat people how I want to be treated, basically is what it all boils down to. And but anyway, I just wanted to kind of make that point. As you can see, we've got a little bit more polished out. Still got a ways to go on it. Then I'm going to tape it up and bead blast the top. Okay, here we are, our last step here. I done bead blasted the top of that, as you can see. Still got a few fingerprints on that. But anyway, I just wanted everybody to see what it looks like. That right there is what the gun looks like, all polished out and all the bad places polished off of it. Of course, the top strap is, you know, been bead blasted. And of course, when I blew that and the back side, all that's going to be a matte finish, because this is a Target revolver. I think this is what they call a masterpiece, I believe, 22, made by Smith & Wesson. Really good revolver. It had a lot of little pits and stuff in it, as you've seen in the before video. Anyway, I've got that cylinder all polished up and all that. But I just wanted everybody to see the top strap. You know, here at Scotty's Gun Works, I try to make the gun look just like it did when it was, you know, brand new. Even as far as going down to the original scratch marks in the polishing, you know, in the polishing process. But here's the, you know, picture before I blew it, and then after I get it all blued and put back together, I'm going to show you what the finished product looks like. And I just kind of want to give you a video on how I polish things down around here, and you know, kind of show everybody how I do it.